Hello again and welcome. Michael Pizzolla here. I'd like to welcome you to this edition of the Value Capping Rant. This is the 2018 Louisiana Derby edition. Now, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Michael Pizzolla. I am the author of the best-selling book, Handicapping Magic, and co-author of the classic, or it's been called classic, Pace Makes the Race. I am also the creator of the original online racing form. You can find that at posttimedaily.com. It's called the Post Time Daily 2.0, a great full-featured computer past performance. And that's what it looks like. Okay. I am also the creator of the Black Magic line of software. This is what Black Magic 1.0 is, and the recently released Value Capper, which is Black Magic Handicapper 2.0. Now, I want to talk to you a bit about what I do on these rants. It's not about my picking horses or touting a horse, okay? Because otherwise the video would be like 30 seconds. Hey, I think the 4-horse has a shot and I'll bet it at a price. That would be it. And the approach that I teach is geared to the modern game. If you haven't noticed, the game has changed radically. Horses we used to get great prices on are now getting bet way down. Why? Everyone's got good numbers. I did an entire video series for you. It's free. It's called the Value Capping Revolution Basic Training Course. And while I will go over the main points of the value capping approach, I think you would really enjoy this course. It's 4 full-length videos. You can find it at ValueCapper.com. I talk about the value capping framework, value capping versus handicapping, and why that's so important in today's game. I'll explain to you the entire 5x5 formula. And then, if you're interested in the software and training, you can watch the last video. If not, there is really a lot of great information. Each one of these is over an hour in length, and it's chock full of good stuff. So if you don't know about it, go over to ValueCapper.com, sign up, get the course. You'll get them every 2 days to your, the video every couple of days to your email box, and it's just... the feedback on both this course and the software has been unbelievable. All right. So what's this value capping about? Well, it's pretty simple. Bet horses you like, that the public shouldn't, and that's key. Now, preferably running against vulnerable favorites. You need to wait for your price and then let the bet make you. In other words, get a felt sense that, yeah, this feels like a good bet. Now, how does that all apply? That sounds very... Whatever tool you use, you can use these principles. I don't care if you're a speed handicapper, if you use the sheets, if you're just old school and use the racing form, you can still find horses you like that the public shouldn't, running against vulnerable favorite. You can wait for your price, okay? With that in mind, I want to take you through very quickly the Louisiana Derby, which is being run on March 24th, 2018. It's the 11th race at Fairgrounds. Now, when you open up the Value Capper software, and that's what I'm going to use for this, this is part of the screen. There's so much in this software, but I'm going to show you how it translates those principles into a way of looking at a race that is intent on finding potential value bets, not on predicting who's going to win, because let's face it, we don't know for certainty and can't know for certainty who's going to win. So this is what it looks like. Now, I'm going to zoom in and show you a couple of the first things that I noticed. The first thing is that the top 3 horses on my odds line, the 2 Noble Indy, the 9 My Boy Jack, and the 1 Bravazzo, are the 3 morning line favorites. Now, I don't love that, right? Because that means the horses I quote-unquote like are also the horses the public should like. And I want to find horses the public shouldn't like. Because if I agree with the public, what have I done? I've found the obvious horses. And look, as I said 100 times, the public has gotten very, very good at finding, good, solid horses. There are lots of good numbers out there. Now, you may be familiar with the odds line, which is on the left and in blue. Those are the top 4 horses in blue, if you will. The 2, the 9, the 1, and the 4, actually. And then the morning line, you know what that is, made by a morning line maker. One feature of my work is that I make a contention line, which is what I think the public might do based on conventional handicapping principles. So there are 2 horses that look like they might be a price. My boy Jack, which has got a high contention line, and we'll look at why that might be in a second. And the 4, Give Me a Minute. If you notice at the top, the 4 is noted as the VIP plus. In other words, this is a horse that might be a price, and it's in the top cluster of horses. So a horse I like that the public shouldn't. Okay, let's take a look. Oh, and by the way, this race is projected as a pressured, positionally pressured, and velocity and positioned, highly pressured race. In other words, there might be a lot of speed for a closer to run against. So I'm going to keep my eye open for that. But let's take a look who's come to the party. Bravazzo is a 7-2 morning line, just won the Risen Star. Now, there are a couple of horses in the Louisiana Derby that are out of the Risen Star. Bravazzo has just won 2 in a row, and those were very tough races. Look at how it's second at the second call, and then fights all the way to win. Now, that's something that the public likes. I don't necessarily love that. Now, this is a young colt, so, they can handle that kind of thing, but I don't love that. Now, Noble Indy, there's nothing I could say wrong about this horse. Maybe it's a little early for the race. This is the horse that finished 3rd in the Risen Star, but it has done very, very little wrong. It won its maiden first out. It won an allowance, stepped into the Risen Star. I don't think it broke very well, and then finished 3rd. Nothing wrong with that horse. Now we get into some interesting horses. This is my boy Jack. And I think the reason that it was given such a high contention line was the performance that it's been, it's kind of an in and out horse, the turf lines and so forth. Now, it just won the Southwest in the mud. I think that the public will bet this, and I think that the 5-2 is more accurate than what the contention line is. However, it is a closer. If you notice in every one of its races, it makes a closing move from the second call to the finish. Now, the interesting colt in this race to me is the 4-horse Give Me a Minute, which is 4th on the line, but the line is very close. There are 5-1, 6-1 on my line. Now, at first glance, and I think this is the way the public will look at it, it's a horrible last race. It finished 8 by 10 lengths for Jiminy's sake. And then they look behind that and they'll say, oh, it just won a maiden. That's all. It's just a maiden. It doesn't belong in a grade 2. Well, maybe. First thing, if you look at the comment on that last line, it was bumped at the break. It was in the 6th path at the quarter pole. In other words, it was a troubled trip. This is a horse with some pedigree. This horse finished 4th in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile back in last November at Del Mar. So this is a well-meant colt. Now, this is the question that always comes up. Generally, when a horse runs a good race second back and then has a poorer race on the top, I call that a pattern, an advanced form pattern. In this case, it's a type 1 pattern. But that doesn't mean it's predictive of the horse winning. What it means is that the public often overemphasizes the last race. Now, of the many scenarios, there are two that are real possibilities here. Number one, this colt is out of condition as evidenced by its last race. This is what the public will usually think. And that's why it's 20-1 and it's got a relatively big contention line. Or two, it ran a good race and then just put in a poor performance because of some trouble. And if the public does overemphasize that, this horse has good enough numbers to run in this field, and there are two other horses that beat it in the Risen Star, this horse will go at a long price. Will that happen? I don't know. What will make the decision? Wait for your price. Here's the bottom line. This is what I'm looking at. This is what I'm focusing on. A horse I like that the public shouldn't. Now, there are pros and cons, as always in a horse race, right? I've got three horses with better credentials, better numbers, better odds lines on top of this four-horse. They are the morning line favorites. They're well regarded. The one may have had some hard races, but, you know, not a bad colt there, of course. My boy, Noble Indy, has done absolutely nothing wrong. So this becomes a matter of value. And the Value Capper software gives something called a Value Capper price, which is kind of a guide. And in this case, it says you better be getting somewhere like 13-1, 14-1. I'd want somewhere like 15-1 to bet this four-horse. 15-1 and up, of course. And I think I'd use the 1 and the 9 in the exactas. I especially like using the horse that won what I call a reversal race, the Risen Star in this case, Bravazzo, who's also the fulcrum in the race, in an exacta box and straight with underneath. I'd also use the other closer, My Boy Jack. If all the speed collapses, they come on, and that could be a decent exacta as well. So for me, this is another race, okay? Yes, I know it's Louisiana Derby. Yes, I know it's a Derby prep, but for me, this is another value opportunity. You may ask, what happens if this four-horse goes off at, 7-1? No, I'm not going to bet it. I've got too much going on. 10-1, I'd be tempted. 15-1, yeah, I'll bet this colt. Wins, it wins. It doesn't, it doesn't. But more than what happens in this race is the approach that I want to present to you of betting horses you like that the public shouldn't, preferably running against flawed horses. Of paramount importance is to wait for your price and, you know, get a felt sense for this process and let the bet make you. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I thank you so much for joining me on this value capping rant. If you want to learn more about the basic approach of value capping, please go to valuecapper.com, sign up for the free course, and I will see you soon. Thanks again.